Hi, and welcome to today's live reading from Ashes to Ashes, books 1 through 3. Book 1, Bad Things Happen, by Rowena Holloway, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1, Joey, the end. Streets of London, Saturday, July 29th, 2 a.m. Today's the worst day of my whole freaking life, and it's all because of two simple words: loyalty and truth. Our team motto. Got it on the club room walls and stitched into our uniforms. The boss is always on about it. If you ever doubt who we are, lads, always fall back on the team motto. That's what Law and FC stands for. And that's how the Raiders roll. Am I right, lads? That's part of every training session, every pregame psych-up. He even has it in gold lettering on the wall behind his desk. Well, here's a truth for you. There is no loyalty. Doesn't matter how many walls or uniforms you stick it on, how much lip service it gets. If you don't support a bloke when he's down, then there's no loyalty. My wipers barely make a difference to the rain blurring my windscreen. But this isn't the time for safe driving. Headlights are close behind, too close, right on my tail. If they catch me, I peer ahead and floor my Audi R8. Ask anyone what happens, and they'll tell you, I'm the one with no loyalty. Not to the team, not to my best mate, not to my girl. All about perspective, innit? Red lights, an intersection. Shit, I can't stop now. I gun it, see headlights on my right. A blur of color as a car shoots past me. I swerve. Someone clips my rear. The Audi slides sideways. I get it under control and keep going. I tried to reason with the boss, to explain. His grim face was about as open as to reason as the little Hitler at the DVLA. Don't lie to me, Joey. It's all here in your blood work. Was a time when I believed Tyrone Gardner was a god? After this morning, Jesus, was it only this morning? When he brushed off my denials like a bird shit off my sleeve. Well, that was the end of my hero worship. More lights, a sharpish turn coming up. Left, I have to get into the left lane. A dithering Fiat is on the way. I gun the engine, speed past. A motorbike cuts me off. I touch the brake and swerve. The back end goes wild, clips a set of traffic lights. I overcorrect. Bounce across the traffic island. A horn blares. Headlights come straight for me. Shit. I'm going the wrong way on a one-way road. I swerve left, almost losing control on the slick tarmac. The rear bumper clips the footpath railing, but I push the car forward around the turn and finally slide into the correct lane of the A1210. Yep, worst day of my entire life, all because I believed in the motto, loyalty and truth. Loyalty is for losers, and truth, yeah, well, the truth is, I got caught up in something bad, something deadly. My pathetic efforts to get out made everything worse, put everyone in danger, and threatened everything we worked hard to achieve. It doesn't matter that I've been dragged into it. I'm in, with no way out. Nowhere to run, and now I'm racing through the slick London streets with no freaking idea where I'm headed. If only Gardner had heard me out. Light bounces off the wet road. A lorry speeds past, going the other way. I get a windscreen of muddy water. Oncoming headlights blur, merge with the street lights and the brake lights ahead. Brake lights. Shit. I use my gears, touch the brakes, peer through the rain-blurred windscreen for a gap in traffic, and spot the medieval castellations. Of course, I'm on the Tower Bridge approach. Just have to cross the bridge and find sanctuary, maybe forgiveness. The R8 growls as I push her harder. When the boss refused to believe me, I'd slammed out of his office and barged up to the Eye on London weather girl, who was there doing a good news story on the Raiders. Yeah, I know. A weather baby isn't exactly who you go to with a story like mine, but she was there, and I had a hot story and a temper to match. I dodge a Ford Transit, speed past an MWX5, and make it onto the bridge. In the heavy traffic, I can't tell who's on my tail, friend or enemy. Friends, not many of them left. I keep my foot planted. The world ship whips past me as I weave through sedans, SUVs, and delivery vans. The night is a blur of haloed lights and black velvet. Kind of like my life. All the beauty gone before I have time to appreciate it. All because I believed in truth and loyalty. Because I thought a way out was to talk to the press. Because I was convinced if I turned up the pressure, I could save everyone. Truth and loyalty? No friggin' way. There's no loyalty, and in this life there's only one truth. Everybody lies. Part 1, The Scoop. Joey, Office of Tyrone Gardner, Debden Park Training Grounds, Friday, July 28th. The plan had been simple. The major weakness was doing it on the sly. If anyone found out, I'd be over before it began. I tapped on Gardner's door, and when he didn't answer, went in. The place was deserted. That kind of surprised me. He was usually in by now. Today was a big promotional day for the club, and the boss was pretty uptight about how things ran. Maybe he was off wrangling the youngsters or giving Declan last-minute instructions. Maybe he just slept in. Now, one thing I knew for sure was that Tyrone Gardner never did anything that mundane. My hands shook as I closed the door, most likely lack of sleep. Could have used a bit more shut-eye. Kaylee complained that I kept her awake mumbling in my sleep and tossing and turning, but these days she complained about everything. According to her, I couldn't do a thing right. Well, I was about to prove her wrong. Prove them all wrong. The boss was going to admit he fucked up my tests, put me back on the team, helped me regain my sponsors. No one wanted to back a player who wasn't playing. If the boss didn't step up, well, then I'd have to follow through with the plan. First, I had to find leverage. The carpet was so thick I didn't make a sound as I moved toward the desk dominating the space in front of the window. The high-backed, ergonomic leather chair looked more comfortable than my 20,000-pound couch. Then again, the way Garner had decked out the club, this chair could well be worth that. I couldn't resist trying it out. Comfy. It smelled expensive. Embraced by the buttery leather behind the huge desk, gave me a sense of what it was like to be Gardner. To watch us all troop into his office with requests or explanations. The power of it surrounded by evidence of Gardner's past glory hanging on every white stark wall. Well, I've got to admit, it was pretty fucking sweet. But I didn't have time to dick around. If I was doing this, now was my best chance. Everyone was in early for the public relations stunt with TVWA. The lads were well excited about the weather babe, Charlotte Ash, turning up here in the flesh. It was a standing joke in the locker room how well informed the lads were about the weather. Everyone had it bad for the weather babe. I wasn't worried about the lads missing me while she was around. As long as I turned up for a bit to camera, no one was going to give a toss about where I was in between. The clock above the door clicked over to 7:15. I was due back on the pitch for a group appearance at 7:30. Word that the boss wasn't already in. Maybe he was down there with the little kids who were due to give a bit of a show after Declan talked up the club. I glanced out the window, keeping back so no one would see me up here, as unlikely as that was in the second-story window. I watched everyone milling about, the little league getting last-minute instructions, all of the parents antsy and on a high because their kids would be on TV. Couldn't see the boss or Lucinda, who followed him everywhere juggling 2 mobiles and an iPad. If they weren't on the field, it meant either of them could burst in any minute. I got to work rifling through drawers and sifting through paperwork, looking for the information Dimitri wanted so badly. He was willing to lop off a few of my body parts if I failed. On the desk was Gardner's laptop and a set of rolled-up papers. I smoothed out the papers. architect plans. Some new housing estate he was working on. Blackson Estate. Looked like a lot of small townhouses with fake Tudor cladding. They all liked around here. Nice, I suppose. Never heard of this development, though. There was a Blackson Hall somewhere nearby, an old manor they had made into some kind of institution or clinic. The laptop was worth checking. Might even find something to explain why Gardner was so convinced I was using. Failing that, there might be something that would help me get back on the playing team. The boss had taught me 2 golden rules about negotiating. 1. Never go into a meeting without knowing what you want to get out of it. 2. Make sure you've got leverage to make what you want happen. I opened the laptop and moved to the mouse. The screen came to life and the email window opened. It wasn't like Garner not to have a password protect his files, but it might mean that he wasn't too far away. But hey, gift horse, mouth, I wasn't going to question why. A quick scan of the folders yielding nothing, so I glanced through the email messages. Then one header caught my eye. Blackson Estates. Tempting. Very tempting. But the clock now said 7:20. I couldn't waste more time, and the email pinged. I nearly fell off the chair. R.E. Blackson Estates. I had to look. Couldn't open the one that had just arrived. Gardner would notice that. I clicked on the one below, which had already been opened. R.E. Blackson Estates. Ty, I understand your concerns, but as your financial advisor, as your friend, I must reiterate that spreading yourself so thin has left you vulnerable. You need to reconsider our proposed strategy. With so much at stake, it is your only workable solution. Give me a call when you get this. Cheers. Reg. Spread himself thin. Hey? Well, I can understand that. Never really thought about how he funded our rise from nobodies to our current status as the team to watch. Debden Park was a massive improvement on the rented rooms we'd used when Lawton barely rated at division level. Gardner had poured everything he had into us. He was owner and player manager. Did I mention he likes to be in control? With a PA and assistant player manager, a physio, head of sports science, performance analyst, as well as 2 dedicated trainers in the gym. Us lads, we all loved it at Debden Park. We had a pool, game rooms, lunchroom that was better than some Soho food joints. We saved on gym fees, had 24/7 access to trainers and sports psychology. Most important of all, we had privacy. See, everyone wants a piece of you if you're halfway famous. An ad campaign here, a charity guest appearance there, and suddenly you're London's most eligible. And our club Lawton FC, the Raiders, was only in Championship League. Imagine the fuss for the Premier blokes. That's where Gardner saw us heading, to the Premier Leagues. We'd all wanted it. In a way, that's how I ended up here, looking for leverage against the bloke who pretty much made my career. Made it, and just about destroyed it. Gardner deserved the trouble coming his way. He was a big man. He was good at handling trouble. Time had ticked past. It was now 7:26. I was doing the field for a stupid bit to camera. And as much as I wanted to look at those emails, I still hadn't found what I needed. A quick check of the drawers, and I came up lucky. A list of account numbers. Just as Dimitri had said I'd find. But if I pocketed the paperwork, Gardner would get wise. And if he knew I'd taken it, I had no chance of getting what I wanted. No matter what I thought I could expose. I needed a copy. The copier was in Lucinda's office just outside. Couldn't risk that. Not without knowing where the boss was or when he'd be back. And Lucinda could be anywhere. That girl was like a ghost, always appearing when you least expect it. My phone, of course. I snatched it out of my pocket and snapped a few pics. Voices, the office door wide open. Enjoying my chair, Joey.